quorum being present, and just call the council's attention to this thank you card from Troop 679 Girl Scouts, where they want to thank everybody who has a role in making Berea such a wonderful place. Council, city staff, they offer up this Valentine for collectively everybody here.
How nice.
And you remember the troop that, with the flag raising at some of the different locations. And next, Mr. Burnside, did you have a motion to add an item on the agenda?
I do, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to add ordinance number 02-11 to the agenda tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wagers, motion by Mr. Burnside. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Then the motion will be added under new business. Next, do we have any visitors who would like to bring a matter that is not otherwise on the agenda to the attention of the council? Seeing none, if the council would turn its attention to the minutes of February 1st, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the minutes of February 1st.
Second.
Motion by Field, second by Farmer, to approve the minutes as distributed. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, no. Minutes are approved. Next then, ordinance 02-11.
Mayor and Council, ordinance 02-11 is an ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky awarding a franchise for the collection and disposal of solid waste within the City of Berea to Waste Connections of Kentucky, Inc. That's by title. It does award the franchise pursuant to ordinance 02-2004, where the council created a franchise. It has been previously held by another franchisee. The city advertised for bids and submitted and accepted bids, and by this ordinance determines that Waste Connections of Kentucky, Inc. had the lowest and best bid and awards that franchise to Waste Connections of Kentucky, Inc. First reading.
Okay, that was a reading of ordinance 01-11. And we had the addition of ordinance 02-11 as well. So we'll take that one up next.
Ordinance 02-11 is an ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising section 40.100, providing for a speed limit of 15 miles per hour on Locker Court. First reading.
Mr. Stone, would you give the council an update on the solid waste transition?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the transition with Waste Connection and is actually going very well. As of March 1st, Waste Connection began picking up the garbage in the city of Berea. Rumpke's contract will end February 28th. Rumpke is working very well with Waste Connection. They have turned over all their route sheets, billing addresses, types of service that each of their customers have had with them. And therefore, this has made it much more easy for Waste Connections to make this transition. One of the requests that we would like to make for all of our residents is beginning next Monday, on the day that their garbage is picked up, please leave your cans on the street or the curb where you take them out to have them empty. Because Waste Connection will follow Rumpke's trucks next week. And if you have one of the Rumpke brown cans and a red tote or your recyclables out there after it's emptied. They're gonna come through, pick up that brown can, red tote, replace it with a red hand cart and a green recycling. And that way, the first week that they pick it up in March, then they'll have their materials out there that they'll be picking up. So many of our residents are used to knowing that the truck comes by at 10 o'clock, they take their garbage out, get it picked up, bring it right back in. A little different than what I do, but anyway, if you will, next week, as Rumpke makes that pickup, leave your cans out so that we can make that transition. They're making visits of all businesses right now and working with them to make sure we get all the proper dumpsters in. So it looks like it'll be a smooth transition. We know there will probably be a few hiccups along the line, but with the participation that Rumpke is given to the city and to Waste Connection, and we'll make this a very smooth transition. Question was asked today about the transfer station, the operational hours. The operational hours will be the same as it is now, Monday through Friday and a half a day on Saturday. Any other questions you may have?
Have the same day pickup, you said, right?
Same day pickup. Nothing is to be changed as far as the routes are concerned.
And-
You should get a bill sometime soon, probably around the 1st of March. It's a 3-month quarterly payment, just like we've done in the past. Yes, Mr. Burnside?
No, I guess my question was, which I'm sure citizens will be notified via the paper and et cetera about the.
They ran
leaving
an
their
ad.
cans and stuff.
They ran an ad last week in the paper, and they ran another ad the next couple of weeks. They're gonna do some flyers. They're in town.
Right.
I'm going door to door, so if you,
We have a choice on recycling. We have a 96-gallon Kirby, as they call them.
if you wanna change your size, if you'll call them and make that arrangement with them. Right now, you'll get the 18-gallon container.
Is that what we've had
That's
with
equal to what we
Rumpke?
have right now with Rumpke.
I thought that was a 90-gallon.
Now, that's the hand cart. You're talking about
Oh,
the hand cart.
okay.
We're talking about the recycling
Recycle
container.
bin, okay.
That's every 2 weeks, correct?
No,
No,
it's
it's every week.
Every week, just as we're doing now.
96-gallon is every 2 weeks. Is that correct?
If you went to the recycle bank, which we haven't really talked about, then that would have been an every 2-week pickup. But right now, we're continuing with the same service that we had in the
Once
past.
a week and the same day as the garbage pickup.
And a single stream, put anything that's recyclable in that container. As a matter of
Other
fact,
question?
If you have an automatic withdrawal for payment through the bank, you'll have to redo that,
yes,
correct?
you will.
Do they automatically cancel the one with
You
Rumpke?
know, that's a good question. That's one I need to, well, that's a good question. I need to ask that myself to see how that's working, because I had it on one of my lists, and I've never asked them when I've talked to them.
Okay.
Good question. I'll do that tomorrow.
Because it's automatic, yeah.
Yeah, just need to stop it and change it.
Other question? Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to just move right into the letter of representation, Linda Ain?
Yes, you have a letter that I placed in your packet this evening from Linda Ain. Linda Ain is an attorney in Lexington who has worked with the city of Berea for the past 10 years, I think. She deals with telecommunications franchise agreement. Our franchise agreement with Time Warner is coming to an end next month. We need to, my request is to have the mayor sign this so that we can work with Ms. Ain. What's happening in many cities is that Time Warner is extending their present franchise agreement by 5 years. The plus to that for the city of Berea is that we will be able to continue our PEG access, our public access channel. In our last contract with the Time Warner, we received 6 modem for the city. So we're operating on free. They provide our email service, the modem service that is free. These are just a couple of things that we would like to see continued. If we put it out for bid, and rebid the franchise. Time Warner is the only game in town. But those things that are going out to bid, those kinds of things are no longer being honored in contracts with them. You know, when the state in 2003 passed the telecommunications tax, held us harmless at $10,301, $10,301 a month. That's all we're ever going to get. And we lost really our bargaining chip because we no longer control anything. Also, another thing that's in our contract that we have at Time Warner is they have to maintain an office, and they still have that office here in Berea. So the continuation of the office in Berea, the continuation of the use of the modems, and our PEG access channels are the three things that we would like to see continued for the better service of this community. And Miss Ain is I guess she's the guru, JT, of telecommunications.
On admission.
Yeah, by our own admission. In the state of Kentucky with telecommunication. We have used her in the past, but we do need, we'd like to have the authority or backing of the city council for the mayor to sign this.
Questions for
It's just,
If we get this worked out, that $200 an hour, if we get this worked out, can we keep it to a minimum for her
Oh,
fee?
well, we keep it to a minimum. We will do that. She will negotiate with them.
JT, do you get $200 an hour?
He gets more.
put him on the spot.
She'll draw up the contract. That contract will be passed back to Mr. Gilbert. He'll review it before it comes to council.
Yeah, I would suggest that we have a monthly billing
Yes, we do.
provision, so you can keep up with it.
Other questions?
yeah, I guess it's just unfortunate that's the only game in town, because I really am frustrated with their continually raising their rates unexpectedly, and it's just unfortunately we can't have some conversation in terms of that renewal. I mean, it
Consumer
doesn't-
protection,
yeah.
we've lost a lot of that out.
And, you know, and particularly, their quality doesn't improve, their service doesn't improve, and it costs.
Other questions, comments? Request by the city administrator. May I have a motion on that request?
So moved.
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign the letter as proposed.
Second.
Mr. Burnside, second by Ms. Farmer. Further discussion? Comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, no. The action is approved. Next, do we have any committee reports? Mr. Burnside, Audit and Finance.
I think we just need to note that the city administrators and the department heads are working on the amended budget, and I understand that we should be getting a copy of that soon, and we'll start having that discussion after we do that next week or so. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any department head have additions to the written report provided to council? City administrators report?
Sure, most of you are aware that this past week with the Prospect Street project, that the traffic was diverted, now traveling across the new section of the bridge. And as we continue on this next week or so, they will start demolition on the north side of that bridge and start working on that. I talked to Garrison Construction yesterday, and as long as the weather holds up, which is looking good throughout this week, they intend to do some of the curb work, a lot more of the sidewalk work, and the drainage that they're working on the north side. If you notice, going down there, it's starting to form up the walls going up the hill. So they are making progress, and that is weather related as far as their progress, and they've been slowed down for the last 2 months. The Baldwin Street culvert that we've worked on for months. Today Tim's group poured the floor of the road bed itself. That's complete. As we continue out this week, we'll pour the curbs. We'll pour the flumes that has to come off of that to control the water. That water comes into that causeway on both sides. So we do have to have the flumes that takes it off and into the channel. And also, we will be putting a fence with ADA regulations. Now we'll have to put a fence up on both sides. So if everything goes well, concrete's been able to be poured late next week, because we'll have about 7 days once that concrete is poured before we will allow traffic to go back and forth on it. So if we're lucky, I hate to put a time on it, but if we're lucky, probably within the end of next week, we will allow traffic on that. If you know, the Russell Acton Folk Center roof project is taking shape, and they're doing some work, quite a bit of work down there. Again, they've been held up by the weather. 103 Parkway, where the food bank is presently located, this past week we did install a new HVAC system in there to replace the old one that wasn't working, so that has been installed and is working. As Mr. Burnside said, tomorrow morning the staff will review the amended budget and work our way through that, and we will have all documentation to the council and to the finance committee for a meeting prior to the first meeting in March for review. So Mr. Burnside, I'll get with you on the timing of that meeting. We are advertising this week, if you'll notice, for bids for turnout gear for the fire department that will be open at our next council meeting. The turnout gear that is out for bid will be used by volunteer fire department. With Mr. McKay's help, we've been working with CSX Railroad on the signal plan out at the Mady Road crossing. We're trying, they will send us, it's been a arduous process in getting this done because there's so many phone calls that he's had to make. Finally, he's narrowed it down that they will send to us a contract. We'll sign that contract. It'll be somewhere between $10,000 to $15,000 to start the plans and the drawings for that, and hopefully between now and the starting of school that we are able to expedite this project and get those crossing arms in place. One of the things also, we're talking to CDP engineer to get a preliminary line and grade of that road. It needs to be upgraded to tie those two roads together. So that way, with the preliminary line and grade and the width and any changes we may make, CSX can incorporate that into their plans and make sure that we have proper location of the crossing arms in that area. Yesterday, we were notified of the final acceptance of the ARC grant. This is a $19,000 grant from the ARC, allowing us, it's called the Berea Energy Cost Savings and Home Energy Cost Savings Grant. So we will be doing a footprint of our use of electricity and also setting a template that our customers can also use to track their electrical use and the carbon footprint that they have. We to date have received 58 resumes for the position of Utilities Director.
58.
58. Out of those 58, we've narrowed it down by reading through them to 14. That's quite a few. And out of those 14, about 2 of them have some utility experience. Others are engineers, and 3 of those one's a lawyer, and others have MBAs. So we will.
Might need a good lawyer.
Right. We have in-house lawyer staff there, Mr. Stewart. So we we'll be meeting, talking, the mayor and I, and getting a group together and start reviewing these and working with the council on the replacement or the next director of utilities. I also want to make an announcement. The strategic plan meeting we're scheduling for Wednesday, March the 9th, 8:30, Delta Gas. That will probably be at least 4-hour meeting to talk about some of the goals and objectives for the city.
The 9th?
March the 9th. That's a Wednesday, March the 9th, 8:30, Delta Gas. Many of us will be involved this coming Thursday evening and Friday with the Southern Growth Policies Board, looking at a economic development strategy for Madison County, City of Berea, Richmond, Madison County Schools, Berea College, Eastern, and Berea and Richmond Chambers of Commerce are all involved in this process. Also, we were notified today that the NRCS, this is the Natural Resources Conservation Service, did send us a contract for up to $30,000 to help us in the clearing of streams. But, you know, we stopped when we started to work down Brushy Fork, waiting on this, so this is great. This will help us to, it's a 75-25, so we'll receive up to $22,000 from the federal government, but we will track our time and work, and as soon as we can get this document signed and back in, we will begin our restoration of stream works also. Last Friday morning, we met with a number of residents along 595 out who are having flooding problems, and they have made a request to the city for, under the open records request, for a number of the construction plans for the Beaumont subdivision, Oak subdivision, all those subdivisions along 595 that, so we're working on gathering that information for them. I think that's all. I'll take any questions that you have.
Questions for Mr. Stone?
In that, is that part of the state's plan too, though, Randy, for the 595 issue?
Yes, there's some state contracts out there as far as the road widening was concerned. Correct.
Other questions? Thank you, Mr. Stone. I'd respectfully ask the citizen in the register to cover well his comments about the railroad crossing, if you would. And for my only real comment, I'd like to report to the citizens that George Wyatt, the one of Berea's representatives on the airport board, Madison County Airport, met with council in a work session to outline the various activities of the board, describe the transition that's underway to bring on board a new fixed-based operator to manage the operation of the airport. He also commented about the possible usefulness of a joint a joint strategic plan by the three governments and the airport board to help maybe plan future growth and activity. He mentioned and confirmed that the finances for the airport are solid, sound, and briefed us in part on potential economic development opportunities for Madison County and its cities that the airport both is serving but would represent future opportunities as well. It was a good report, and we will thank him for bringing that to us. That's all I have. Council comments? Mr. Fields?
No comment.
Mr. Belando?
Yes, Mayor, I'm remiss in bringing this before the council. I'd hoped to bring it last week at our last council, but I wanted to have it noted in the minutes, if possible, about the excellent job that city administrator and the committee did on presenting the solid waste program to us.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Wagers?
No comment.
Ms. Farmer?
No comment.
Little?
Yep. I've got a question from Mr. Gilbert. He probably can't answer it, but I need a legal opinion on something. On our Chapter 20, Elected Officials, Berea, Kentucky Code of Ordinances, you go down to Chapter 20.202, it says Standing Committees. It said the following shall constitute the standing committees of the City Council: Audit and Finance, Personnel, and Public Works. I want to know if if we do away with some of them, is that legal or not? That's my question. It says here we need an audit and finance of personnel and public works. And I've got these papers here if you need them, I've got them. That's my question. You probably can't answer it tonight, but that's my question.
Okay, if you'll give me
I'll give you the
that,
information.
and I'll give you a written opinion on it. Is that,
Yeah, I'd like to give the council,
Okay.
open council, written
Okay.
opinion.
okay,
Okay, thank you, that's all I've got.
yes, sir.
Ms. Kirby?
No comment.
Mr. Burnside?
I just have one thing. I had the citizens that called me who lived out at Rainbow Acres, and I just would request that the city administrator would put this on his list, have someone to take a look. They're concerned there in Rainbow Acres because that neighborhood has changed with some new developments and quite a bit more traffic there, a lot more speeding, and they don't have sidewalks in that area to walk on. So they're concerned about the safety, their own safety in walking, and as well as the number of kids that's in there. So I think we, if we can, we need to take a look at that and see if we can help them address that issue. So be concerned because there's a lot more development in there now than it was years ago when that was first developed, and that's really impacted the neighborhood.
Are they focusing on adding sidewalks or enforcement or both?
Ideally, the addition of sidewalks would help a lot, because you can only enforce the speeding to a certain extent, and that won't be a problem. But when people are forced to walk in the street with speeding, it really creates a dangerous situation.
Thank you. This meeting's adjourned.